Tonight on Texas News Channel, a campus robbery,
Hong Kong protests affecting Longhorns,
and UT beats national voting average.
You're watching Texas News Channel,
your leader for live local UT coverage. Good evening and welcome to Texas News Channel for Monday, October 7th. I'm Megan Fee.
And I'm Cassidy Ellison. Thank you for joining us tonight.
A UT student was robbed at the 300 block of 21st Street last week. The student says that the suspect demanded money and threatened her with violence if she did not comply. According to APD, no arrest has been made. Students are urged to call APD with any information at 512-974-2000.
In Hong Kong, thousands of citizens protested the recent ban on face masks last Sunday. The protests have been going on for 4 months. In this past summer, a student from the UT area was in Hong Kong and participated in the protests. TNC's Cynthia Miranda has more.
A student from the UT area provided first aid to people during the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. This person decided to be anonymous because of concerns for their safety. They say young protesters are risking their lives for demands such as direct elections.
Well, this is what they're inheriting, you know? So they feel like this is their last chance to fight for Hong Kong. This is their last chance to safeguard Hong Kong. So a lot of these students, they're willing to sacrifice everything. They're willing to die for Hong Kong.
Will Bowden is the executive director for UT's Clements Center for National Security. He says a problem began in 1997 when Hong Kong was transferred from the UK to China, and an agreement was made which allowed Hong Kong to preserve its democracy.
Almost immediately after Beijing and the People's Republic of China took control in 1997, they slowly started violating and breaking that agreement. They did it through means such as installing a governor in Hong Kong who was handpicked by Beijing.
Another student also chose to remain anonymous because of safety concerns. They say the protests are affecting their family.
I know some of the protests, they happen exactly where my family lives, outside their apartment. So I just guess I'm worried about that and just hearing their conditions, and it kind of affects my family's their jobs and just how their living conditions.
The protests are impacting millions of people in Hong Kong, but they're also impacting people who are close to our UT community. Cynthia Miranda, Texas News Channel.
The Cockrell School broke ground on their new Gary L. Thomas Energy Engineering building last Thursday. Its namesake is given in part by the alumnus' $25 million contribution toward the new facility. The building will be adjacent to the Cockrell School and will focus on providing new spaces for multidisciplinary studies, energy-related education, research, and innovation. The building's anticipated completion is in the fall of 2021.
Last week, Butler School of Music professor Dan Welcher was removed from the university after several allegations of sexual harassment were made against him. The Office for Inclusion and Equity is investigating the allegations. Welcher's former students and other duties are now assigned to other professors. Welcher is not allowed to have contact with students, and he has not officially resigned or been fired from the university.
Today was the last day to register to vote for the upcoming November elections, and Travis County has already broken a record in registering 93% of eligible voters.
Many students on the 40 acres are wanting to go out and vote as well. The 2018 midterm election saw an increase of young voters, with UT voter turnouts passing the national average with the 2020 presidential elections around the corner. TNC's Mercedes Gonzalez looked to see why more Longhorns are going to the polls.
UT saw 54.8% voter turnout for the 2018 midterm election, according to a study by Tufts University. It increased by about 37% from the 2014 midterm election. Many factors, including a competitive race and voter engagement efforts, could be the reason for that increase.
We also hit over 250 classrooms to do registration, which was the first time we had really hit that number of classrooms in 1 year.
Voter engagement efforts at UT are student-driven, such as Texas Votes, a student organization who aims to encourage and educate students about voting. They work to register students to vote and get them to the polls.
We had a huge party on one of the days of early voting called Vote Fest, and we brought in live music to entertain people waiting in line. On Election Day, we served pizza, free pizza press to people waiting in line.
UT voter turnout also passed the national college turnout, which was 39%. PBO says competitive races, such as the 2018 midterm election, attract voters. More national voter engagement is also a factor.
The freshmen who are coming in, freshmen and sophomores, they are students who were activists in high school, a lot of them. So they're excited because now they get to do this part of the process.
Texas Votes hopes to get 62% voter turnout for the 2020 presidential election. To keep student turnout high, PBO says continuing efforts such as registering students and providing easy-to-understand ballot information can help achieve that.
You need to help them oh wait, there's a constitutional amendment election, you need to vote in this too, because like I said before, we want to keep students habitually part of the process.
Mercedes Gonzalez, Texas News Channel.
The White House is dealing with growing calls for impeachment this week as an intelligence official claims to have firsthand knowledge of the phone call between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky discussing former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. TNC's David Rubin is in New York with the details.
Megan and Cassidy, good evening to both of you. A law firm representing the first whistleblower who did not have firsthand knowledge of the call between President Trump and President Zelensky of the Ukraine now claims that they're representing a second whistleblower. This time, they tweeted, "I can confirm that my firm and my team represent multiple whistleblowers in connection to the underlying August 12, 2019 disclosure to the intelligence community, Inspector General. No further comment at this time." The second whistleblower comes as impeachment talks ramp up on Capitol Hill as the partisan divide continues. Democrat Jim Hines, who is a member of the House Intel Committee, told CBS News that this is all happening now because people see the corruption within the West Wing.
Whether they were in the room or had firsthand knowledge or talked to somebody who had firsthand knowledge, people who are in the very core of all of these events are saying this can't happen anymore.
These new calls for impeachment come just several months after the conclusion of the Russia probe by special counsel Robert Mueller. Over the weekend, the president maintained his innocence from the North Lawn.
I don't care about Biden's campaign, but I do care about corruption.
The president also tweeting, in part, the partisan whistleblower was very wrong on what was said on my perfect no-pressure call with the Ukrainian president. Bring in another whistleblower from the bench. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced an impeachment inquiry last week after long downplaying impeachment talks, but recently told ABC News about her phone call with the president.
I saw the surprise in his voice that he didn't understand that I thought what he did was wrong, that he was undermining our national security, that he was undermining our Constitution by his actions, and he was undermining the integrity of our elections.
House Democrats have now called on Intel officials to testify behind closed doors later this week, and of course, depending on how that goes, will be the framework for how Republicans and Democrats decide to proceed. From New York, I'm David Rubin, Texas News Channel.
Coming up on Texas News Channel, a Riverside update.
And Longhorns dealing with stress.
Last month, Austin City Council delayed their final vote on the redevelopment of apartments on Riverside that house UT students. This decision could make life difficult for students who live on the east side. TNC's Cynthia Miranda reports.
City Council's decision on a new development in Riverside could create hardships for low-income students. Viviana Castillo is a senior at UT. She says if the city of Austin gets rid of student apartments in Riverside, then it will make life difficult for low-income students.
They make it harder for us to live in Austin and have the same opportunities as someone who has a lot more money, because we can't afford to live here if they take that away.
Castillo says that City Council should think about how this decision could keep students from attending UT.
Where are they going to go? They're not going to be able to come here because it's so expensive. Or they're going to have to take out like thousands of dollars in loans on top of like their tuition. So yeah, just to take that into consideration. Think about the students.
J.B. Bird is the university's Director of Media Relations and Newsroom. He says UT is greatly concerned about students finding affordable housing.
If a student can't afford to live in this city and to attend UT because of the housing expensive, that's a failure on our part, because we want students to be able to afford, we want all Texans to be able to afford a UT education, and we want to help them succeed.
On October 17, City Council will make their last vote on the redevelopment in Riverside. This decision will have consequences for students like Castillo who need affordable housing to attend UT. Cynthia Miranda, Texas News Channel.
Austin Public Health is investigating 6 cases of lung injuries related to electronic cigarettes in Travis County. One of the cases is a UT student who wants to stay anonymous. The student was hospitalized after complaining about chest pain, nausea, and shortness of breath. They were diagnosed with an unknown vaping-related illness. 75 cases of e-cigarette injuries have been reported in Texas, and 1,080 cases have been reported nationally.
UT, as well as many other universities across the country, are no strangers to stress. According to an article by the Washington Post, students in high-achieving schools are facing higher rates of behavior and mental health issues, including stress, anxiety, and depression. TNC's Rebecca Sabarillo went out and asked fellow Longhorns what is making them so stressed.
When people think about college, they typically think about the stress that students must go through. But what things are stressing out these students?
The thing I've actually been most stressed about that I didn't think that it was going to be the thing I was going to be most stressed about was actually just fitting in, because I'm so scared that, like, I had so much fun in high school, and I'm very scared that, like, I'm not going to have that much fun in college. And I feel like what most people are scared about in college is that they're wasting their time, and they want to make sure that they're making every second out of college.
I feel like the workload, not necessarily me yet, because I'm only taking 12 hours, and I know that's like kind of a little bit, it's still full-time, but like for me, I'm able to manage it right now, especially since it's my first semester of college and I want to just ease into it instead of like jumping full in.
While students like Macy, Mark, and many others feel overwhelmed by college, places like the UT Psychology Department have solutions for those suffering with stress.
First, in psychology, we have resources for student counseling resources, where you can sign up and go talk to people who will help you dealing with your problems. Student health services also have this kind of support as well. You can go talk to counselor, they will help you. And you should always talk to your advisors, just making sure you don't overwhelm yourself with too many classes you don't need to take.
If you are a student experiencing high amounts of stress and anxiety, you can contact the Counseling and Mental Health Center at 512-471-3515.
Former Texas softball star Kat Osterman is heading to Tokyo for the 2020 Olympic Games. Following Team USA's announcement, Osterman tweeted out, quote, "So excited to be part of this journey. Let's go Eagles." Osterman is a 2-time ESPY Award winner for Best Female College Athlete and a 3-time USA Softball National Collegiate Player of the Year. She has been serving as Associate Head Coach coaching staff at Texas State University. Osterman will be competing with 17 other members this summer.
So Cassidy, it's really been cooling off lately. Today did not feel so hot.
I know, it was enjoyable walking to class.
Yeah, you could practically bring a jacket. Well, let's take it over to Cynthia in the Weather Center. Cynthia?
Thanks, Megan. Today felt like the first day of fall, but how long will it last? Stay tuned to find out. Well, Longhorns, we felt some cool weather today, but hate to say it, it's not here to stay. We saw a high of 83 with a few clouds, but expect temperatures to drop down to 59 later tonight. Don't get too comfortable though, because tomorrow it'll be a very sunny day with a high in 86 and low falling down to a cool, clear 62. You may want to hang up your scarf on Wednesday because we'll be having another sunny day with highs reaching a hot 93 and partly cloudy nights dropping to a low 73. Thursday won't be any different with highs in the upper 90s and lows in the 60s. You may want to bring an umbrella if you're staying late at the PCL, though, because there's a 20% chance of rain. Your ACL plans may be canceled because Friday brings a 40% chance of rain, with highs in the upper 70s and lows in the 50s. Luckily, if you plan on seeing Childish Gambino or The Cure, Saturday will bring a sunny day with highs in the 70s, so don't forget your sunblock. Wrapping up the week, Sunday brings cloudy skies in the high 70s, a perfect way to end your festival weekend. Live from the Weather Center, I'm Cynthia Miranda.
Welcome back to Texas News Channel. We now welcome in sports correspondent Jared Murphy. Jared, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be on. It was a big weekend for Texas football as they headed to Morgantown to take on West Virginia, looking to take care of business before the Red River Showdown. Let's see if they did it. Let's see. Mountaineers take the lead early in the game with a 44-yard touchdown thrown by number 12, Austin Kendall. Then we see Texas come back in the first quarter with a pick from Mountaineers quarterback, taking it in to their own 20-yard line by Longhorns' Deshaun Jamerson, going on to score to even out the score within the first half. Then early second quarter, Kendall does a fake play, diverting the defense from paying any attention to him while he scores another touchdown from Mountaineers. Next, a few minutes later, we see Longhorns quarterback passing a 13-yard touchdown to John Hurt, while then also going in to take another touchdown just to end the second quarter. Then we see him start off with Kendall throwing a deep pass once more to Sam James. However, Deshaun Jamerson crushing their dreams, taking it in. Then Texas, once again, number 11, Sam throws to Sam Cosme, who runs it in for a 12-yard touchdown, making the Texas lead increase by 7. Final 3 minutes left in the game. We see Sam Ehlinger once more running it in yet again for a 23-yard touchdown, taking a knee in the final 24 seconds, ending the game. Texas Longhorns 42, West Virginia Mountaineers 31.
So Texas clearly got the revenge against West Virginia. How did Longhorns accomplish that?
Texas dominated the game by remaining calm in the early going and forcing Austin Kendall into some difficult situations that caused crucial turnovers. West Virginia started off hot at home, building a 14-7 lead early in the second quarter, but Ehlinger remained calm as the leader of the team and led a game-defying 11-play, 69-yard drive that took about 5 minutes of the game time. Behind his post, Texas was able to take a 21-14 lead heading into the half. The story from there was all defense. Deshaun Jamerson had one of the wildest interceptions in the recent memory to end the Mountaineers' first drive of the second half. And the Longhorns would tack on 2 more interceptions before the game was over. Defensive coordinator Todd Orlando has to be impressed with his team's takeaway performance and holding the Mountaineers to 17 points before garbage time.
So is this win indicative of the success Texas may have going forward, and how are you impressed by this win?
Well, the resiliency of the team on the road is something that Longhorns fans have been wanting to see for years now. Being able to win games against lower-tier conference opponents while playing their B or C game in something that all national titles contenders are able to do, it's a very good sign that Texas was able to do that against West Virginia. I am personally impressed by the win, just because of talent of the Mountaineers, and also gave Texas an opportunity to work on its depth. Running back Rashad Johnson stepped in as a lead with 21 carries for 121 yards, and that concern about Texas defense back core didn't seem to bug the defense, as that was probably the best aspect on this side of the ball for the Longhorns.
Well, Jared, it was so great to have you on, and we will be right back with our entertainment news.
Welcome back to Texas News Channel. I'm Mercedes Gonzalez. Audience surely flocked to movie theaters everywhere to watch the new movie Joker, despite previous concerns of its violence. Joker won the prestigious Golden Lion Prize last September after grossing an estimated $93.5 million in ticket sales from over 400 screens. Justin Bieber spent $35,000 on his cats, Sushi and Tuna, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Bieber defended his cats from people for the ethical treatment of animals, or PETA, when they criticized his purchase of 2-part exotic kittens. PETA felt the star should have used his platform to encourage adoption from local shelters to decrease the overpopulation crisis. Bieber responded, "Leave my beautiful cats alone," and suggested PETA focus on other problems like animal brutality and removing plastics from the ocean. Breakups and makeups are all over Hollywood this week. Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott are taking a break after 2 years together. Jenner confirmed the news on Twitter, where she said the parents are on great terms and want to focus on their daughter Stormy. And Miley Cyrus was recently spotted sharing a kiss with Cody Simpson, just 2 weeks after her split with Kaylin Carter. That's it for me. I'm Mercedes Gonzalez.
Thanks, Mercedes, and thank you for tuning in.
You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Texas News TSTV.
If you have a news tip, you can reach us on all socials or email news to news@texasstudenttv.com.
You can catch Good Morning Texas Wednesdays at 7 a.m. and Tower Talks Wednesdays at 6 p.m. I'm Cassidy Ellison.
And I'm Megan Fee. From all of us at TNC, good night.